I think a lot of people read the Bible and they go, yeah, I've had people say, yeah, I've read the Bible. And I'm kind of thinking, well, first of all, probably not, but maybe you read some of it.
Or maybe you read it and then you didn't really internalize anything or study any of it.
Yeah, you're not really looking into it.
Yeah.
I've been studying it for I don't know 40 years,
And you're still finding things.
and still finding things. And the more I drill down into it, the more absolutely mind-boggling that it is.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into the ancient histories and you start making connections and things like that. I had a Muslim uh, ancient history teacher. His name was Shapur Shabazi. Really liked him. Really nice guy. He's since passed away. And Mr. Shabazi told us one day in ancient history class, he said, the most accurate piece of written history in our hands today is the Bible. That's coming from a Muslim history teacher.
Hmm.
So that kind of blew me away, even back then. But then I've started actually studying like what makes a historical document reliable. What's the basis for it? What's the requirements? How do you know if it's accurate? How do you know if it's
major
history?
discovery
How do you know if it's
based on the
legend?
words itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, what they found, because let's face it, the Bible has got thousands of critics that are just dying to tear it apart.
Thousands. I think that's a little bit
It
small.
probably.
Try billions.
And to tear it apart in this last book I read, which is The Evidence of the Resurrection, they're quoting critic after critic after critic in this book. And the critics are saying, no, the New Testament is pretty much the gold standard of historical documentation. They've looked, they've gnawed on it and pulled at it. And then it's almost like if somebody said, you know what, I have this new material and it's indestructible. And you go, BS, give it to me. And you start taking chainsaws to it and hammers and trying to nail stuff and drive on over it with your car. And it comes back just looking this. At some point you go, dang, that really is the toughest material ever. I didn't believe you, and that's what you're seeing with the critics that attack the Bible, is that they're the ones who really care about the evidence and that are evidence based in their assessments, honest men who realize they've started with a bias against its accuracy when they start driving over it with their car and cutting into it with a chainsaw and hitting it with a hammer. They at some point have to pick it up and go, dang, that really is
ironclad.
Yeah. I got nothing. And there's critic after critic after critic after critic after critic that are.
Well, and there's plenty of people who have actually been changed, who have come to Christianity specifically because they couldn't disprove something in the Bible, or they set out to
the
disprove
journalist
something.
Josh McDowell's another example of that.
It's amazing how it changes people. I think
but only honestly, the honest person. Only exactly. If you're honest. Only if you really say, you know what, I don't know, but I'm really going to look at this,
right?
And I'm really going to search, and I really want to know the truth.
I think that's really important for anyone that's listening. Anytime that you're looking for truth, look for truth. Don't look for what sounds good to you. Look for the actual literal truth. And I think honestly, and this has been kind of our philosophy for a long time, that if people are honest with themselves, if they are honest with their search and for truth, that they will find God at the end of that tunnel. They will find him. It's a matter of time. It's not a matter of if.
I believe that. But pride and arrogance is one of the biggest barriers to finding truth. Yep. If you look at people, if you come across people that are truly delusional, one of the first things you will realize about them is that they have an appalling level of arrogance. And you cannot talk to them. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to have a discussion. They've already made up their mind. Yeah, I know I'm only 22 years old and I know everything, but I don't want to hear it. There's no talking to them. They just shut down. And it isn't because they stumbled across some fantastic truth that proved God didn't exist, and now they want to get on with their life of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Right.
They just want to get on with their lives of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. They don't want to be bothered with the truth.
Right.
Is what it really boils down.
It's inconvenient for them.
It's inconvenient for them.
Truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's not in our nature to want to follow God. It ain't easy.
No.